Good day, trail lovers. This is the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast, a podcast attuned to all of you folks thinking about taking on the great outdoors with a pack on your back and a hankering for adventure. Rejoice, gearheads. On today's episode, we're bringing it back to gear talk. As promised and delayed and promised again, we're going to tell you all you need to know about choosing a sleep system for your overnight backcountry adventures. So take one last trip to the privy, snuff out the fire, and let us lead you to a good night's sleep after a great day of adventuring on the trail. Welcome to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Travis J. White, and as you all know, joining me today, my partners, the star of the unrealized summer blockbuster dramedy, Dude, Where Are My Tent Poles? Patty Richardson.
Konnichiwa.
And of course, our mix master. He's got the D-double-O style. Bradley Greer.
I fucking love it.
Greetings.
Time. Dude, this is my favorite part of this whole podcast is you, Travis.
Well, here we go again because it's been a while. And it feels great to be back, relaxing and recording a pod.
Yeah.
How are you, Patty?
Man, I'm wonderful. You're bringing the hype, and I am hype. This was a great farting week, dude.
Yeah.
Going into a great weekend. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready for this podcast. We're drinking Waterford tonight for my first time here back in the States, and I'm enjoying my evening.
Heck yeah, feeling good. Brad?
I'm enjoying that Waterford as well.
Yeah, you
I
are.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's tasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I took today off work, got a lot done around the house, got some good baking done, or at least dough to be baked at a later date and time.
All
So,
right.
Hell yeah.
Good day.
Dude, the Baker Man is back again, man.
Yes, he is.
Hell yeah.
Brad the Baker Man. How are you, Travis J? How was your week?
Oh, geez. Well, the week started out really well. I got that big cloud mural painting project done, and that felt really good. And when I look up at it, I'm proud of it. And you can't really ask for more when you finish a job like that. And but then the week kind of took a little turn south, and we've got a project that requires a lot of sanding, and sanding is my least favorite thing to do. And my boss knows it. And so he knows that he should take us out to lunch. And he took us out to Cebollas today. So that was kind of a
Nice.
So, yeah, whenever we're doing something kind of sucky, he does something nice.
Well, at least he
Yeah.
gives a shit.
That's good.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
He's a cool dude for sure.
Totally. Oh,
Hey.
oh. Well, News Panther time.
I guess.
Good Lord. Brad, lay it on us.
Yeah, the first story that I have for you is one that really, it upsets me every time I see a story like this. Two Coloradans
Coloradans?
face criminal charges after allegedly trespassing at a historic cowboy camp at Canyonlands National Park and stealing artifacts while they were
Saw
there.
photos of this.
Yeah,
These
Stealing artifacts?
buttholes.
What
So-
did they steal? Do you know?
So you know how when you go to a park and they have areas like displays set up that are set up like they were back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So there was one of these in Canyonlands, and it almost looks like it's in a little cave or conclave kind of thing. And Roxanne and Old Dusty entered a fenced off area of the park, and this is a quote from the national park, where they handled and stole numerous historic artifacts preserved in the Cave Springs Cowboy Camp.
What a bunch of
Yeah.
farting turds,
So
dude.
what's awesome is, unbeknownst to them, the National Park Service had trail cams set up on this display.
Oh my!
So-
There's cameras everywhere
Yeah.
now.
Duh.
Yeah. So they caught him basically red-handed.
You know, people just stop stealing
The
shit.
photo is the dude like in. Oh, do you have the photo
Yeah,
on here?
scroll-
Oh,
yeah.
wait till you see
It's on
this,
the notes.
Travis J.
And what's funny about the photo too
There they
is
are.
Good Lord.
Just-
it looks like the dude's holding a brew dog, right? Like I'm pretty sure that's a beer in his hand, and,
Yeah.
and it looks like she has a red Solo
Is that a
cup.
Miller High Life?
they're just out there. boozing, like,
Champagne of
He's-
beers?
Hey, honey, you know it'd be a great time?
Living the high life.
Yeah.
Let's take some of these antiques home.
Jesus criminy.
This camp housed artifacts from camps from the pioneer cattle ranchers between the 1800s. And I thought this was kind of weird because the story said between the 1800s and 1975.
Oh.
So I want to know what's in there from 1975. Like maybe that's when the table that is holding everything was made. I don't know.
Somewhere in the 175 years, this was done.
Yeah. They caught these two, and they are now charged with theft of government property worth less than $1,000, possessing or distributing cultural or archaeological resources, and walking or entering an archaeological or cultural resource.
Okay, I have to make just one statement here. I was under the assumption that these artifacts that these people were destroying were definitely going to total out more than $1,000.
Yeah, that's
a bit like, okay, like we're talking about like Tupperware painted
how important
to look
is this?
like, yeah, how important is this?
It made me wonder too, because are they pricing it at the price that it was made from whoever left this or whoever they found this stuff from? Because surely if it's
under $1,000, they didn't find this. That's what I'm saying. Like this is all staged, like ceramics.
Who knows how they value it? Because they're never going to sell it, so maybe they don't value it as if it's an auction item or something.
Oh, that's true. Valid, maybe.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Not that I like this photo of these two people. Like, these people. You're like, these are the people that just feel like they just, no personal space.
Yeah.
No.
Completely unaware of themselves.
Completely unaware.
Yeah.
They're wearing the same shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just on the lake all day. They're like,
So we see stories like this all the time. You see people getting in trouble at Yellowstone for walking in areas that they're not supposed to walk. But just follow the rules when you're out there. And it seems like the National Park Service does take this pretty seriously, because you always see people getting in trouble.
yeah.
So, like one thing we realized, I think Patty brought it up, was like, not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're ruining it for everybody else.
I definitely think that you're destroying an education piece, if anything.
Yeah.
And I just like, if you're just a person that understands that other people live on Earth,
Yeah.
and you generally don't do these sorts of things because you understand. I mean, that's the whole backcountry mentality, is whatever you go in with, you leave with,
Yeah,
so as to
leave no
leave it for
trace.
the next person and the next generation and the next generation after that. So, yeah, I just think these people
That's
are
why
probably just dipshits.
It drives me crazy.
It drives me
seeing this
absolutely crazy.
It's kind of along the same lines of what we were talking about earlier about just throwing your cigarette butts.
Yeah, the litter
out.
bugs.
Like, come on. Like, we all want to live in a fucking clean place. Stop being an idiot.
Chill out, dude. Just throw it away.
Stop touching shit.
That's it.
Children.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
People are that.
Well, the second story is kind of maybe can help combat this kind of situation. So with this story, I'm going to give a little preface, because there's something I didn't know about called the National Park Foundation. Have you guys heard of the National Park Foundation?
I think if you like
Absolutely.
watch PBS, that's
Yeah.
always a sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like nature
I've heard
and
of that a lot.
Well, they are the nonprofit partner of the National Park Service, and their goal is to raise money for the National Park Service. They were established by Congress in 1967, and from their website, their goal is to generate private support and build strategic partnership to protect and enhance America's national parks for present and future generations.
What a great motto.
I tried to look it up a little bit and see, so are the national parks solely funded by the NPF? And I know there's other entities that pay for it, but a couple of weeks ago we were talking about how local parks got a bunch of money to be built and upgrade.
Yep.
I can't remember what the name of that is, but it's from taxing offshore oil or mining.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff like that, but it made me wonder, like, so our National Park Service is not funded by the national government? I don't know. I'm going to look more into that. We'll see.
That would be interesting. I would have thought that they were a mix of both. I have to imagine that when you buy goods and things like that at the national parks stores, when it's got to be.
Surely there's a profit margin
It's
there.
a public thing. So
do you think
it's paid for by the public? Oh, that actually might change my opinion, because it is. I mean, it's by the public for the public.
Yeah.
So maybe it is all.
Well, yeah, but all the government's money is from the public.
Oh, dude. Ding.
So where I was going with that is the National Park Foundation will receive a $100 million donation from Indianapolis-based foundation Lilly Endowment Incorporated.
Wow.
$100 million.
Bring it back to Indy.
Yeah. The money will be used to address the needs of the country's more than 400 national park sites. That's what the president, Will Shafroth, said. He's the president of the National Park Foundation.
That probably means more trails, more staff, more cleaning,
more access. So they still don't know exactly how the money is going to be used, but the Lilly Foundation in the past have donated money for restoring coral reefs in Biscayne National Park and donated money for restoration of trout species in Western National Parks. So it's not their first time donating to this kind of cause.
Dude, big up to the Lilly
it's a big one.
Endowment.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like just like park infrastructure for, visitors and stuff. It sounds like, restoration and just maintaining.
Yeah.
Outdoors, nature.
And it seemed like one of their goals, too, is creating opportunities for younger people to visit national parks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's pretty cool. I imagine that's like field trips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. News Panther has pounced. We are eaten, done. Sayonara.
Ready to go.
Yep, ready to go, dude. Let's get into this shit.
All right.
Let's go. Sleeping bags.
Let's
sleep
get
systems.
to some gear talk. We're on to the last of the big three items a new backpacker needs to cut their teeth in the backcountry.
Yeah.
So say a tough section of trail done kicked me right in the tush, and I need to get some good rest before I set out again tomorrow. What am I going to need, Brad?
I think you ideally would have the ideal perfect sleep system tailored to your specific needs.
Wow, that was a great way of saying it. And yeah, you're entirely correct.
Yeah. I know me and you, Patty, Travis, I don't know so much about you, but we've experienced, kind of messed around a lot with our sleep system, trying to get it dialed in exactly what we like.
Man,
I've had one pad and, two sleeping bags. So
what's your pad? What's your pad,
bit.
out of curiosity?
I think it's called like a Thermarest.
Yeah, it's a big brand.
Yeah, it's about maybe an inch and a half thick when I fully inflate it, but it's just like completely flat. There's no pockets or nothing. Yep. It's served me well enough, and I'm surprised that it still holds air, but
yeah, you don't even keep it in a stuff sack or anything. You don't.
No, I like to have it on the outside like a bedroll. In Lord of the Rings or something. I think it's a cool look to the pack. So.
I mean, we are the Fellowship. So.
Yeah, we are, dude.
It's really aesthetics for me, like putting that on the outside.
Yeah, it's crazy that I'm not sure when you bought that, but it's crazy that thing doesn't have a stuff sack. It's on the outside, and most everybody that I know that has a sleeping pad, they're very diligent on making sure that is in the right place, nice, safe, and sound. Everything about using a sleeping pad is very be careful.
Oh, mine gets poked by sticks, and I just throw it on the ground when we stop.
Thermarest.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough
dude, I think that's
sleeping mat.
If you're out there listening, dude, and you're in for a sleeping pad, that is a big deal, dude. Durability in a sleeping pad, and the way Travis J uses his, and
I abuse it for sure.
One thing he does is he leaves his footprint like 2 feet offset from his tent on the front of his tent.
So I have a little porch.
Yeah. He has that sleeping pad out there, and he lays this sleeping pad on top of that, and he has just a little chill section he can hang out in.
Yeah, kind of like your little vestibule.
Yeah,
nice.
Ionic. So, Patty, what are one of the main things you look for in a sleeping bag?
Well, I can't remember if you said this or not, but when looking for a sleeping bag, you're going to pretty much be looking at 3 different things. You're going to have 3 different considerations. The number one thing I think that any person is going to be looking for in a sleeping bag is going to be the temperature rating.
Yeah.
How warm you can stay with inside that sleeping bag. Mm-hmm. When you're buying the sleeping bag, the temperature rating is going to it's going to be right on the outside of the box. Generally, backpacking, mine is a 20 degree. I think Brad has less. I'm not sure what yours is.
It's a 20, yeah.
It's normally part of the name of the bag.
Yeah.
The Quilts 10 degree magma.
Cosmic 20.
Yeah,
this is what I have.
Same as the backpacks. They tell you how many liters.
Yep, that's right. That's true. But that temperature rating is not necessarily where you're going to be comfortable at all.
Yeah.
if you buy a 10 degree at 10 degrees, you're going to be feeling that. So what I find interesting is that nowadays what's going on is they have the Comfortable 2 included with the temperature rating. So what that Comfortable 2 is, you have the temperature rating maybe 10 degrees, and then the Comfortable 2 would be 25 degrees.
Yeah.
So at 25 degrees, although it's a 10-degree bag, at 25 degrees, you're going to lay in that and you're going to feel real nice, like you're at home.
It normally seems to be like a 10 to 15 degree difference.
Yeah.
From what I could tell.
Yeah.
I just purchased a new quilt. It's probably 6 months ago now. And I
Yeah.
went with the 10 degree.
Yeah.
Because we'll get into it a little later, kind of because of how a quilt works. And because I don't like summer backpacking. I normally do spring and fall backpacking trips.
Yep.
So I went 10 degree because I'd rather be warmer and I can always adjust to not have as much covering me.
I think that's a perfect, like, I'm looking for a new bag right now after having the same bag for 10 years.
What's yours now? Temperature?
20. It's a Kelty 20 degree.
It seems like 10 to 20 is the most common.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the range you're going to hit. I mean, although it's a 20, and I know the comfortability rating is probably more like 30, something along those lines. But with my base layers on, the sleeping pad that I have, I'm nice and toasty warm at 20 degrees. Plus, I'm a bigger guy, so I think I might sleep hotter than most people.
Do.
Heat that sun up. I know.
The 20 degree, yeah, for real. The 20 degree just does me well. But I have also, because I want to do more and more seasons, I think with the hammock, it'd be interesting to kind of climb into that like fourth season, the winter. And I think the 10 degree would just be sweet.
Yeah. You can also buy liners that you put inside of your bag that drop the temperature, like quote unquote, drop the temperature rating, because you're adding a liner to it.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother thing, right?
I had one for a while and I tried it and it's like good in theory, but it never seems to really work out.
Mine is a fleece blanket that I bring.
Yeah, you do.
And
grandmothers.
That thing is a game changer. 'Cause it'll make me so much more comfortable and warm. So
Inside
I don't know
your
if that's the
sleeping
same
bag?
thing as a liner, but
Yeah,
it kind of
a
is.
little
Yeah.
blanket that I bring with me.
Yep.
if you follow us on social media, you can see that blanket in action on top of a mountain when Travis is laying down
That's
in,
right,
in a
you
little
saw it.
grassy field.
That blanket is my jam. I've taken it.
But also the liner, I mean, we're talking about backpacking a lot in this podcast, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you brought a liner, that's yet another thing.
Yeah, nothing about it I liked.
Right.
And I sold that bag and sold that liner. Threw that in as like a little bonus here. Like, you can have this liner
So
too.
you got to kind of nail it. I mean, it's a good, just forget the liner and nail it with your sleeping bag. Figure out where that counts. Yeah, so that brings us to our second most important consideration in choosing a sleeping bag. And to me, that's downfilling or synthetic. I'm here to explain a little bit about downfilling. Brad.
You'll hear arguments about this online everywhere you look between down and synthetic.
Yeah, you really will, dude.
But I do think most people choose down. I know I've always chosen down. Have you always had down, Patty? No?
No, man. Because of the price variance.
Okay.
To me, I mean, if you're getting a down bag, like I know you got into quilts, and quilts just generally are cheaper than a mummy bag or sleeping bag. Synthetic is just a cheaper way.
Yeah.
Like I can get the sleeping bag I've had for roughly 10 years, a little bit over that, is synthetic. It was $150. And it's kept me fine forever.
Yeah.
I've gotten it wet and stuff like that.
That's like definitely one of the choices that you're going to have to make is down versus synthetic.
Oh, yeah.
So down is the filling in the sleeping bag that's made from duck or goose undercoating and not necessarily just the feathers of a duck or goose.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they think of feathers of a bird, they think of the top feathers, where it's the ones that you find like in a park falling off of a bird.
Yeah.
This is not that feather. This is underneath that layer. If you were to pick up a duck and put your hands underneath the wings, it's like toasty, warm, almost sweaty under
The
there.
super soft and fluffy ones.
Super
not the
soft and fluffy.
Ones that poke out of your grandma's old pillows.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of nice to think like, oh, the duck is nice and toasty.
Yes,
He's good
it
to go.
is. It is.
So some of the downfalls with down is that it's not water resistant. So it'll clump up. If you get it wet, it'll clump up and it'll lose its loft factor. And you don't want it to lose its loft factor because loft is what traps air, your body heat in by making the air warmer.
The more loft, the more insulation.
Yeah. So when you're buying a down, anything down, it'll have a fill power. Say if you have a 400 fill power sleeping bag, it takes twice as much down to reach what would keep you warm for an 800 fill power bag.
Which would be heavier.
Yeah. So say you have a 1 ounce, 800 degree bag, which I'm just making that up.
Right.
That's a tiny little bag.
Yeah.
It would take 2 ounces of 400 fill power bag to keep you as warm as 1 ounce of 800 fill power.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's just a better quality down. It's fluffier. It has more loft.
Right.
And it
Be a
costs
little-
more. Like Patty
yeah,
said, the better the quality of the down, the more expensive it's going to cost.
Yeah. Down seems to be more expensive because it's lighter than synthetic. Synthetic gets the job done with the heat, but it is light. Down is lighter.
Yeah. Like I said, like that example, it's half the weight.
But boy, how do you pay? You pay for that. Down if any one of you listeners are out there looking for a sleeping bag, you're going to notice immediately which ones are down and which ones are synthetic.
I've always went for the synthetic ones because they are cheaper. My first one was just like off the rack at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
I'm sure it didn't cost all that much, but I did buy a decent North Face one. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And it cost a little bit of money, but it was synthetic. It wasn't ridiculously priced.
Wait, you bought a North Face sleeping bag?
Yeah.
You're not a North Face guy, are you?
I'm not trying to be. Just when I walk in the door, that's the first thing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Hi, I'm Travis North Face White. How are you doing?
See, I shouldn't have said it. 'Cause I don't want to be a North Face guy.
But when we say more expensive, we're talking like maybe $100, 150 versus $250.
Yeah.
So
but
it's
that's dude, 150 and 250 are different numbers.
But if it's a bag, if you're the type of person that will buy it and keep it for the rest of your life, like down will last way longer than synthetic.
If you treat that extremely correct, dude.
I don't think so.
I mean, dude,
synthetic breaks down easier. The more it bends and fractures, the more you bend it and stress it, it fractures.
Right.
So it's not as fluffy.
I agree.
Whereas downs, since it's a natural, I don't know what you'd call it.
It's a natural fluff.
Yeah. Like it's literally from a goose.
Yeah.
It's not going to break down as fast.
No, I get that. But also, like, I've been damp in my tent just because of the evening air.
Didn't he say a couple weeks ago he's never had his bag wet?
No, I've never had my bag wet, but I've had it damp, and I know enough about down. When that starts clumping up, you're effed. I mean, I have 10 years or so of knowledge into the bag the mummy bag I've used, that it just keeps on going.
Yep.
You know, but not just the price. And not just the weight, it's the warmth as well that makes down so well.
Yeah,
it's the warmth to weight ratio, right? So the weight that you have in your pack is justified by also the warmth you get out of down fill.
My first synthetic bag, I don't know, it seemed like it weighed 5 freaking pounds. It was huge.
Right.
And it took up a lot of space in my pack. So
right.
I was like, I should definitely consider getting something else.
And that's where down is killer. Like it crushes the competition in that warmth to weight ratio.
Stuff it in there.
For sure.
Tell us about synthetics, Patty.
So synthetic fill describes filling in a sleeping bag that is typically made of polyester fibers. The polyester fibers themselves is what then provide insulation that works well in all of the conditions. And that's one of my favorite parts of the synthetic, is that you can take it anywhere. It's a durable material. It can get a little damp, even wet, and you're still going to keep that warmth once it dries out. So after a day back on the trail, if you do some work keeping your bag out of your pack, it's going to dry and you're going to be back to warm. No clumpiness. Synthetic fill is usually less expensive than the down, like we talked about.
Yeah, say we kind of hit up most of these topics already.
We kind of hit. Yeah.
It's an interesting discussion, and it's a tough decision. It's one you just have to weigh all these options and make a choice.
I feel like we talked a lot about this in down for sure, but I don't know. Synthetic just to me crushes the competition.
Even in this room, I've only ever had down, and you guys have both had synthetic.
Yeah.
I think it would be a tough decision for me to switch to down. I just feel like it's more of a care kind of a thing for me, where synthetic I feel like is the Hummer of.
And also, if you're comfortable, why change?
I feel like there's nothing I'd have to do differently, though, than what you're doing to care for my down.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
So I don't know what you mean by the
I
care.
would say if it's your first time out and you're just getting into backpacking, like, don't be worried about buying a synthetic bag.
I think you're going to be good either way.
The best. Don't go to freaking Antarctica with it.
Yeah.
But, be reasonable and go out and see if you're comfortable and don't spend too much money.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So if you want to go even lighter, to go to the next point, if you want to go even lighter with a bag and you want to put down on it, you might want to think of quilts. To me, Brad, you might disagree because you own one, or you might have a different opinion. But to me, quilts are like kind of a new thing on the market. It's not. I before this past year, I didn't even know about quilts. But I know you're huge into it.
I don't know about huge, but I do have
you
my
sure do promote your Zen Bivy like anybody else promotes their bag.
You never shut up about it.
Yeah.
The first thing you'll see if you go to the Zen Bivy website, it's not a mummy bag or a quilt. It's a bed.
Oh, good luck.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
But no, quilts are a little different. A lot of people hate on them. It's kind of hard to explain what a quilt is. It's easier to look it up, but basically there's a few different types of quilts. Most of them are like your regular quilt. The part that you put up over your head is wide open, like square, rectangle, and it usually tapers down to a foot box at the end. Some of them have foot boxes that you can latch closed or keep them open, and it would be like a full rectangle quilt. Some of them are sewn shut. The foot box is sewn shut.
So there's some where you can stick your feet out of the bottom of the...
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like a wrap, you put your feet in first kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's the way it looks when I see photos of them, is it looks more like a wrap that kind of hugs your pad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and the main difference is instead of having a zipper to close it off, like a mummy bag would, most quilts have some kind of system that fastens it to your sleeping pad. So that's one of the things that drew me to a quilt was I kind of toss and turn all night, and a quilt will stay put, just like if you have tucked in sheets on your bed. When I go to bed at night, it's almost like Patty came over and tucked me in to sleep.
Oh, I would definitely tuck you into sleep.
Nice.
That'd be no problem, dude.
Too bad you've been in bed for 4 hours already before I go to bed.
Yeah. Unless you go to sleep early, bro, it ain't happening.
Because it fastens to your sleeping pad, that's part of the problem too, is the one thing people complain about is it can create drafts. Yep. And like from the neck part, that's not a mummy bag totally wrapped around your head. It's kind of wide open. But a lot of newer versions have some kind of cinch system that you can cinch it up around your neck and close it off tight. My specific one, I have a sheet that goes on my mat, and that sheet has a hood. So you're basically closing yourself off in the same way that you do for a mummy bag. And it has a cinch kind of system on it.
So what would you say is the benefit with that over the mummy bag? Ultimately?
Yeah, so one of the big things is weight savings because say if you're laying in a mummy bag, the part that's on your back isn't there for a quilt. Like that material, not there.
It's your mat.
Yeah, because it's in a sleeping bag, that material doesn't do anything for you anyways because you're laying on it, so it's compressed and there's no loft like we talked about earlier. So there's no air to trap your heat in. So on a quilt, that material's just gone. And it doesn't have a zipper, and it doesn't have a hood, which could be a good or bad thing.
Those fucking zippers.
Yeah. So like most of them kind of just have that, like I said, the latching system. So it does take more to set up when you set up camp because you have to kind of make your bed.
You're going to be fidgeting.
Literally make your bed.
You fidget with it. I mean, it's perfect for people like you. For me, that just wants to like a boom and be done.
I think mine is I blow up my air mattress. I wrap the sheet around my sleeping pad. It has one clip. And then the quilt itself has 4 snap-in hooks on both sides. So there's 8 total hooks. So we're talking maybe 45 seconds to set it up.
Bullshit.
No, I doubt that.
You guys, we'll record a video.
It takes you 3 hours to set it up.
Well, yeah, because I'm fucking around.
Yeah, bullshit.
But I bet I could do it if after my pad's inflated. I'm throwing down the gauntlet right now.
Yeah, throw it down.
I bet I can set it up in 45 seconds.
All right. Once your pad is up.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is, like, if I wanted to switch from my mummy bag to a quilt, like, what am I looking at?
The thing that I like, you mean cost-wise or functional-wise?
No.
So for my setup, with the sheet, the insulated sheet, the pillow, and the quilt was $309 from ZenBivy is who I got mine from. I think most quilts kind of average down quilts because that's all I look at. So $200 to $300 for a down quilt. So this, no matter what, mummy bag quilt, like your sleeping setup is the most important. So it's not the one area. Like most of this stuff is very subjective as far as sleep systems because everybody sleeps so different.
Yeah.
So like most stores are very good about having these bags. Like REIs have these bags hanging up and you can feel them. You can take them down and mess with them.
Yep.
Like it's definitely worth doing because if you're not getting a good night's sleep when you're out there, you're going to be miserable.
Oh, I totally agree.
It's just as important, out there as it is in your daily life.
So if you think like spending $100 extra might give you a little more comfort, depending on how you sleep and what you think would work. And most of these companies have generous return policies.
So I definitely understand, after being a mummy bag user for all these years, I definitely understand the allure of the ZenBivy or the quilt, because it does like represent sleeping in your bed, not being held into this little area that you're being able to like roll around and it's not as much fidgeting as you're sleeping. So I definitely understand. But as a mummy bag connoisseur and person all of these years, I'm going to speak a little too about mummy bags.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So mummy bags, I'm going to represent your old pappy's bag. That's kind of what we're talking about here. It's the same concept, except not a rectangle.
Everybody's seen them.
It's more shaped to your body. So it's got the wider shoulders, it's got the smaller hips, and then a little bit smaller legs, and then wider at the hips and the shoulders. To your point, it does have zippers, so it makes it a little bit heavier, I guess, to your backpackers out there.
And those zippers are a source of unnecessary frustration.
That's right. They can be if it's not manufactured correctly
with the material.
That's right.
It's made out of.
But I will say that I have that Kelty 20 degree, and it has been rocking, and I've not had a problem with it ever. I also got the correct size, so it just fits my body. The thing with that zipper as well, though, is what that does is invite your body warmth. So when Brad's talking about his 10-degree quilt that could potentially be drafts because it's cinches and not zippers, because it's an open top as opposed to a hood that the mummy bag always comes with, something that wraps around your head. It's like a cocoon in there, the warmth part of it.
Right.
So when I say that the downfill is better warmth to weight ratio, what I'm talking about is that, right? Because the warmth to ratio is worse in a mummy bag because of that zipper, the weight part of it. But that warmth to me is killer, dude. Yeah. Getting in that thing and just being cozy in that.
It feels so. There's not a better feeling.
There's
like in the morning.
Oh yeah.
That's why it takes me so long to get ready, because I do not want to get out of my bag.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of mummy bags now come with like a little zipper part at your feet where you can take your feet out of it and let your feet breathe a little bit. So that's gorgeous. I think that if you're looking for a mummy bag or considering a mummy bag, you want to consider the biggest part to me is what side your zipper's on. So I'm right-handed, so I want my zipper to be on the left side. If you're left-handed, you want your zipper to be on the right side. I made that mistake 10 years ago, and mine's on the wrong side, and I always have to use my left hand, and it's a pain in the wazoo.
Yeah.
Are they advertised as like right hand, left hand?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I
I don't know if they'd be advertised so much as it'll be like the number one thing in the description for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess when it comes to searching for a sleeping bag or a quilt, there are a ton of options.
Oh, yeah.
And you just really got to do research if you want to find a bag that really suits you. But if you're somebody that doesn't really care all that much about that kind of thing, like to make it just perfect, you can find a nice cheap bag that will keep you comfortable, while you're out there in the elements.
I would say that if you're out there looking for something cheap to get on the trail, then I would try to find the cheapest possible opportunity at the lowest temperature rating.
Yeah.
Because I made the mistake when I first got into backpacking is I found a cheap bag, but it was like a 40-degree temperature.
Yeah.
So it met my needs financially, but when I was out on that trail, holy smokes, did I feel that. So I would say, yes, you're right. You can find a sleeping bag at a great price, but do not
let that be the determining factor.
Yeah, really let the temperature of your sleeping bag determine the factor of the money that you're going to spend.
Right.
You do not want to be out there on your first night after a 9-mile day hike and realize that 40 or 30-degree bag is not warm enough.
Right.
That is a terrible thought.
And be familiar with the environment you're going to walk into with those bags.
Yeah, not Robert Schock.
So you guys want to talk about sleeping pads?
Yeah, I think that when we're talking about sleep systems, I think that the second most important thing, if not the first most important thing really, is going to be your sleeping pads. Your sleeping pad is going to be between you and the ground. So all of that cold temperature from the ground, from the dirt that you're laying on, that sleeping pad is going to be the barrier between that and your body.
The earth, the cold, dead earth.
The cold, dead earth. Dead earth.
The thicker it is, the bigger that barrier between you and those pointy sticks and those rocks and those, those things underneath you.
Certainly the uncomfortable things, but thicker does not necessarily mean warmer.
Okay.
So when you're talking about sleeping pads, the number one thing that everybody's going to talk about and you're going to sleep is you're going to see is the R rating.
Okay.
The R rating is what dictates the temperature of which your sleeping pad should keep you at, right, Brad?
Yeah. Yeah. So they calculate the R value by, imagine putting a sleeping bag in a wall between two rooms where it's completely sealed off. And you have one room at 100 degrees, one room at 50 degrees. And you measure the temperature of the pad on both sides. Right. So if the pad's 100 degrees on the hot side, but it's still maybe 80 degrees on the cold side, it's a 20-degree temperature loss. So it's kind of an equation like that where it's the amount of heat lost through the pad.
Basically how much of your body heat is going to get lost to the ground.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because really, cold is just the absence of heat, of energy.
Yes.
Wow. It's a little physics fact for you.
And heat likes to go where it's cold.
Isn't really a thing. It just doesn't have any energy, no kinetic energy.
Right.
So the ground's stealing your energy.
Right. So you can get a thick pad that doesn't necessarily have a great R value, good insulation, good way to flow that air and to curve that cold air from coming and attacking your body's hot air or hot energy, I suppose.
Yeah.
So the R values, you can get an inch pad that is outstanding R value.
Yeah.
And it's going to do just the same as a 4-inch pad that has or not just the same. It's going to do worse than a 4-inch pad with a lower R value.
I'm going to have to check my 1-inch pad just to see if it has the R value on it because I'd be interested because I've never felt, like my body heat was getting sucked out through
That
the
is,
ground
I mean,
on
like
mine.
if I've learned anything from this podcast is that I want a Thermarest sleeping pad.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, right? The durability and the fact he's never felt cold.
Oh,
And it's an inch pad. I mean, are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
yeah, because most of them are like 3 to 4 inches.
Yeah, I have a big Agnes, and I really enjoy mine.
Well, also that's my only point of reference. So your guys' pads could be so amazing, and if I tried them, I would never go back.
I
I'm
did
just
not.
used to it. I guess.
I bought a long regular, and I think I might have wanted to go long wide.
Oh yeah, wide. You got to go wide.
Yeah.
I think like wide's the way to go.
What is a good R value? If I was going to buy a sleeping pad, right?
Yeah.
What if I was going to do a spring or a fall hike, backpacking trip? What R value am I looking at?
I would say the most common R values for like spring, fall, 40 degree, maybe down to 30 is like 4, 5, 6.
Yep. 6
6
is great. R
Yeah.
value.
I know I'm currently do not have a sleeping pad, so I'm in the market for one, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to
Oh,
buy
boy.
the Nemo Tensor all season because it's a 7 R value.
Yeah. Dude, that Nemo Tensor, that is a nerve-wracking buy, dude.
This, I guess, is kind of another thing in sleeping pads is you get what you pay for. The Nemo Tensor lightweight or ultralight insulated, and it was like $70 at REI on sale for $70.
Nice.
It was very comfortable, but it was so noisy.
Yeah.
I think these guys can attest to how
So-
noisy.
Oh, that was the one.
Yeah.
So I was
My
gonna
goodness.
get to that. Is there is a noise rating
Yeah.
on sleeping pads, and although you might look at that and think goofy, or you don't necessarily care about the people you're going backpacking with, I think
It even woke me up.
dude,
Like, it wa-
it's insane
Yeah.
how loud that Nemo is. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, big up to Nemo. They are a great brand. I rock their tent now, no biggie. But that sleeping pad is loud. Did you guys hear me at all?
I don't think so.
We could hear you, but
Because I was snoring.
Snoring.
Yeah. But not because I was moving around.
No, I don't think
Nah,
so.
nah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Rapide.
Repeat.
Big Agnes Rapide. is
Repeat
the
SL.
sleeping pad.
SL, by the way. Repeat SL.
Yeah. And that is a big thing. And REI usually has a handful of these air or sleeping pads blown up. And you can go into the store and actually like lay them out and
Yeah.
lay on them and see how they sound.
Yeah, and be rough with it. Like lay
Oh,
on
yeah.
it, sit on it,
Oh,
roll
yeah.
around on it.
Elbow drop
Yeah.
it
Like you want to know that pad is going to take your butt.
and be quiet.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it maybe off air about how people are so nervous with their sleeping pads. So I always get nervous like when I'm even like sitting on mine, like taking my boots
Yeah.
off and doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
thinking that I'm putting all that pressure into one section. But so I mean, really get at it, dude. Those
Yeah.
things are out there in the store for
They're
a
pretty
reason.
tough.
Yeah.
So we good on our value?
Yeah, I think we're good on our value. I think just one more thing I wanted to point out we have in our notes is the pack size.
Yep.
I think that you can find sleeping pads. One of the benefits of having such a luxury thing in your pack, like a sleeping pad, is the size that it packs down to. Once you take out the air, those things pack down to maybe 4 inches by 3 inches, something along those
Yeah.
lines, like a nice shaped ball. So it fits right in the side of your pack, or at least ours do. Travis,
yeah.
I'm not too sure of. But
Well, that's, aside from the aesthetics, that's also the reason that it's on the outside
Yeah.
of the pack, because there's no way I could fit it. There's no way.
It does seem like sleeping pads are the one thing that are always hard to get back into the original bag that comes with it.
dude,
They're like impossible. to
I
get
had
back
that is not true. I have that big Agnes and that
in.
thing.
I'm talking general.
So it's got what I found in some of these things is they have the shark mouth. Have you read about these? The stuff sacks that there a lot of tents and a lot of other things are changing
Yeah,
to.
like a
It's called
slit down the
mouth.
side.
No, it's just a wide, like the stuff sack opens up super wide.
Yeah.
So
That's nice.
you can slide it straight on in. And that Rapide, dude, I have no problems with that.
Okay, well,
no problems at all.
disregard what I just said.
Yeah, keep that in mind about these sleeping pads too, is space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can take up a lot, or you can take
So a
up
lot of them, I
little.
think, like when you jump up to that $200 dollar range, you're paying for having like an elaborate baffle system on the inside of the pad.
Yeah.
And that baffle system being able to pack up into a small space.
Yeah.
So I know mine is blown up. I use my own power of lung, but there's also different kinds of
Yeah,
pads
there are.
that you don't have to blow up.
Yep.
Yeah,
And different ways to blow them up.
You could always go for a piece of foam and lay down on that.
You could definitely do
Which
that.
doesn't sound appetizing, right?
No, it does not. But there's self-inflating, where once you open that up and you open up a little valve, you unscrew a little valve, it'll immediately start taking air. It'll self-inflate to the thickness it's supposed to be. It's supposed to take a lot of that burden off of sitting up with an inflating bag with most of the pads would come with.
Yeah.
Just supposed to take all that out of there. I've heard a lot of horror stories of those where almost immediately these pads stop inflating by themselves, and there really isn't a way to use like an inflating bag or an electronic inflator.
So are these
So-
self-inflating
I've
ones?
never heard of these.
Sort of like more structural, and they just kind of
Yeah.
pull the air in because they want to be a certain shape.
Yep. That's
Okay.
right. You've never heard of self-inflating pads?
No, like they have
dude.
a motor on the inside of them.
No motor.
No.
No.
How they
What I just said.
Yeah, what Travis just said.
But that didn't make any sense to me.
It's like when you have a piece of foam in your hand and then you let it go, that foam immediately starts taking air in to get to its shape.
then
that
can
it's
You
you-
should
supposed
know
to-
exactly where a metal wants to take its original shape. It's a
Yes.
spring, basically.
Yeah, so
But then
once
can you
you-
recompress it?
The springs.
Oh yeah.
You know what a spring is,
You
right?
just-
You can
just
compress
roll
it
it tight
and-
like a piece
Do
of
I know
foam.
what a spring is? No, what's a spring?
Like-
well,
I've
the
never
way
heard
you're
of that.
talking makes it
Like
sound
a
like you
piece
don't
of
know.
foam, you would roll that up and it would take air out of that until you get it back to its shape, but it doesn't roll up near as small, anything along those lines. And like I said, there's a lot of drawbacks that I've been reading about and hearing about over the years, is that they kind of stop self-inflating over time.
I could see like it just losing whatever the structure is losing its elasticity, and it just doesn't want to pull
right.
back to its original form.
Right.
As much as it used to.
Right.
Just gets old, like all of us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But so now you have the self-inflating like we talked about, then you have the just pad that you have to inflate. Generally, it's pockets that flow through the different baffles of your sleeping pad.
Yeah.
Most pads, you guys might know more than me, but most pads that I see, they come with an inflation bag where you kind of like suck the air into this bag, really quickly twist it, and then push that into the pad. So I think that's what you got, or what you use is a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way those things are pretty easy to use.
Yeah, I've seen Brad use it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. And
Instead of losing consciousness,
yeah.
trying to go to bed. Yeah. So what can you add to your sleeping system to make it a little bit more comfortable? Like you got your bed, you've got your comforter. What about them pillows?
Pillows are kind of I've kind of gone back and forth on having an actual pillow with like down or synthetic filling, or having one that you blow up. I think I kind of like the one that you blow up better, because you can adjust the firmness of it on how you like it. Whereas like a foam or like a down pillow,
It just is what it is. Yeah.
I have seen elaborate, crazy pillows. I guess actually now I retract that, because this was like pillows for your bed at home. But you can add and remove the amount of down in these pillows.
We
to
have
make them-
pillows like that.
And I was like, man, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Ashley just got us those pillows and it
Yeah.
is gorgeous.
Yeah. Like it seems awesome.
Mine's super firm.
What is it like? Does it come in packets or something?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, no, I don't know. I've never actually
Maybe
done anything with
You're
it.
not
I
just reaching
enjoy
in
it.
and grabbing a bunch of
No,
feathers out.
I don't think so.
But
I
it's
don't know.
almost something like
It's kind of
that.
like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just came with like a whole nother. I've never fucked with it because
There's
I
like
enjoy it. With
there's like extra down, and then there's like down you can pull out and put it in. That I don't know.
Okay.
They seem cool though.
Sounds interesting.
But yeah, I mean there's really in getting a pillow, they're not that crazy expensive, and you can kind of mess around with them and figure out what you like, because there's not a lot of options. Like one of the biggest annoyances is your pillow doesn't stay put unless you have something
Lord,
that
is
keeps
it?
it there.
Yep.
'Cause you don't have a headboard, and you don't want your tent wall to be your headboard.
Nope.
So some pillows come with like a strap system, a Velcro system. Some sleeping bags come with some kind of compartment to put a pillow in.
Yeah.
And like I like when I can shove my pillow and my puffy jacket or something in there and just have a little extra just cushion, and it's nice to have the freedom, whatever you feel like is comfortable at the time.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a dedicated pillow. I'll just stick like my jacket and my clothes that I'm bringing with me in a stuff sack, and I'll use that. And it's fine for the most part, but like you said, without straps, something holding it down, which you wouldn't think it would be that hard to keep a pillow under your head.
It's so hard.
You're sliding all over the place.
So
Definitely
hard.
something like I never thought about.
Yeah.
And it even took me like 8 or 9 like nights in the backcountry to think, damn,
What
I
a pain
need
in
something
the
to hold my pillows to.
It's
Like,
such a pain in the ass.
It is. The sleeping bag I'm looking at right now has a little slot for your pillow.
Yeah, that
I'm-
sounds
I'm
awesome.
psyched about that.
That sounds really cool.
But I'm also, I mean, maybe I think it's because my pillow sucks so bad that I always use my clothes too.
Oh, damn.
And I just feel like that's better.
What do you do with your pillow?
I just toss it off to the side or like hug it like a body pillow or something.
I'd put it between my legs.
Yeah, something like that.
I got like my air pillow. Like I always I blow it up as much as I can, and it has a quick release, just a little tiny, psst, like little tiny bit of air out. And then when I'm laying on it, I can reach around and hit that valve and just keep doing it until I'm in the perfect spot.
Lord.
And it's amazing.
I do that same thing.
Yeah.
But
Like,
then the
simple
problem is
luxury.
then like the second you roll around, that pillow's 4.5 inches away from your head. You're like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Then you got, especially in a mummy bag, you got to take your hands out of it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Figure out where that pillow is, then slide your hands back down in the mummy bag. Just pain in the wazoo.
That's maybe like I don't have, because I think the hood on my sheet that's on my quote unquote bed,
Yeah.
it's almost as big as the pillow and the hood are almost the same size. So the pillow doesn't go anywhere. It just stays there the whole time.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I do now remember I gave your sleeping system a go.
Oh yeah, that's right.
At your house one time, and it was pretty nice.
Dude,
It was pretty nice.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I bet.
I love it.
Something else I just thought about with the pillows is I also have a down pillow from Field and Stream. It was just a cheap thing. And that pillow has always been comfortable because I
Nice.
think where the air, like I have the blow up one, the self-inflating one, and then I have the down, and that down is just like your normal pillow. So it kind of forms to your shoulder and forms to your head, and you get this comfortable thing where it doesn't move as much. But the one that I fill with air is just like a solid brick of air.
yeah.
So that thing it doesn't form to shit and moves wherever it wants as
Yep.
opposed to where you want it. So I think
Well-
that might just be a little more something. I think maybe they pack down bigger.
Yeah.
The self-inflating ones or the inflated
Yeah.
ones pack down smaller.
All right, guys. You think we've said enough about backcountry sleeping systems?
Absolutely.
I think we did. I think we got to a lot of it, man.
Okay.
It's such a personal thing. Like
It is a personal
Yeah.
thing.
like how you sleep.
Yeah.
That's what you do inside the tent.
Yeah.
It stays inside the tent.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
Johnny
hammock.
J. Or hammock. That's another
Hard
bear.
to keep that inside.
Yeah,
But-
we may get into like the hammock setup.
Yeah,
later.
that's quite a different setup, that's for sure. But I definitely think Brad's right that this is a personal, extremely personal thing. Everyone sleeps different, from the temperature that you
gosh,
sleep
yeah.
at to the amount that you roll over and move around while you sleep, as opposed to just Dracula sleeping all
Yeah.
night.
The amount of noise
the
you
amount
make
of
when you're
noise you
rolling.
make,
Yeah.
Brad. But yeah, just
It's okay to wake others up. Just don't waking yourself up.
Yeah.
That crosses
Yeah,
the
dude,
line.
yeah.
You don't. Yeah, it's okay to have grumpy people in the morning hiking.
No, I don't. I never want to wake my campmates up.
But I definitely think Brad's right. Go to your local outfitter, go to your REI, whatever, and they should have samples for you to really fuck around on.
Yeah, and really fuck around with
Really
them.
fuck around on them, because that is going to determine if you only get an hour and a half of sleep after doing 9 miles on a
man.
trail and about to have to do 4 more days of another 9 miles.
Yeah.
You are in trouble.
It is miserable.
It is miserable.
Yeah, so I think everybody definitely, when it comes to choosing a sleeping system, You need to probably do a little research, understand yourself, how you sleep,
Yeah.
and just don't wing that, because getting good sleep out there after you just busted ass up that trail all day is very important. If you're gonna bust ass up the next section of the trail the next day, so sleeping system is very important. Do not neglect that part of your.
It's certainly part of your core 3 in backpacking for a reason.
Yeah.
It'll make or break a trip.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, you ready to end this podcast?
Yeah.
I will say one thing. It was just Veterans Day.
Ooh.
Hey,
Last
happy
Monday.
Veterans Day, y'all.
Me and Travis
Yeah.
are veterans.
Yes, you are.
But if you are a veteran yourself or you know a veteran, the National Park Service will give you a free lifetime pass. You can get the
Oh,
America
yeah.
the Beautiful pass.
Whoa.
Free for life. Any entry to National Park, any car that you're in, and there's other people in there, if you're on the car, free entry to the National Park.
We did it through
life.
many.
Yeah.
We've done it through many.
And let me tell you, you feel like a boss.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do.
And a lot of times the park
National
rangers are
parks.
cool as hell, and they'll say, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And enjoy the park.
And they won't check you for rocks.
Thank you for your service, fellas.
Yeah.
And if you're a
Thank you.
veteran listening to this, make sure you pick up your
Yeah.
lifetime membership.
Get out there.
Anytime you're at a national park, just go to a ranger station. They'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Hell
yeah.
yeah,
Get your
Brad.
America the Beautiful pass.
Thank you, guys. I salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. Well, let's get out of here. And I want to thank everybody for listening. This is episode 8. Yes?
Yeah. 8 in the books.
And we're getting to that big number 10. So I hope you guys keep listening and you're enjoying what we're putting out. And if you want a little bit more of us, go ahead and check out our Facebook group page, the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees page. And we've got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at
You name it.
Busted Pretty.
Yep.
And if you want to shoot us an email, go ahead and hit us up at bustedpretty@gmail.com. And I think that's about it.
That's right,
That's it.
brother.
All
Hit
right.
us up, dude.
And thank you guys so much for listening. And we're out of here.
Keep on sauntering.
Keep on sauntering.